Welcome to Lutical Connections, your go-to channel for relationship advice, personal growth, and exploring how we can improve our connections with others. Today, we're going to tackle an essential skill that's often overlooked in our everyday interactions: mindful communication, specifically the art of truly listening. In an age where distractions are everywhere and conversations are often reduced to quick exchanges, being able to listen mindfully can transform not only your relationships, but also how you understand yourself and the world around you. In this video, we'll explore what mindful listening really means, why it's so important, and practical steps you can take to become a more mindful and engaged listener in your relationships. Let's start with the basics. What is mindful communication? Simply put, mindful communication is the practice of being fully present during a conversation. It means actively listening without distractions and without focusing on what you're going to say next. In today's fast-paced world, it's common for people to multitask while talking, whether it's checking their phones, thinking about their to-do lists, or half listening while doing something else. But true mindful communication requires setting aside all of these distractions to focus entirely on the person speaking to you. When you listen mindfully, you're giving your full attention not just to the words being spoken, but also to the underlying emotions and intentions behind those words. You're not just hearing someone, you're deeply understanding them. So why is mindful communication so important, especially in relationships? At its core, it fosters deeper connections. When we feel truly listened to, we feel valued, respected, and understood. This leads to stronger relationships, whether with a romantic partner, family member, friend, or colleague. When we don't listen mindfully, it can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and a sense of disconnect. How often have you found yourself having a conversation where the other person is nodding along, but you can tell they're not really absorbing what you're saying? It feels dismissive, even if they don't mean it that way. This is why mindful communication is such a powerful tool. It shows the other person that they matter, that their words are important, and that you are fully present with them. Mindful communication also helps us understand ourselves better. When we actively listen, we're more in tune with the flow of the conversation and less focused on our own internal monologue. This can help us notice patterns in our thinking, behaviors, and emotional reactions. By practicing mindful listening, you might realize that certain topics trigger emotional responses in you, or that you tend to jump to conclusions before hearing the other person out. Mindful communication encourages self-awareness and emotional regulation, which in turn can reduce misunderstandings and conflict in your relationships. Let's break down what it means to really listen in a mindful way. The first step is being fully present. This means giving your undivided attention to the person speaking. In practice, this can be challenging. We live in a world full of distractions. Our phones, notifications, or even our own thoughts can easily pull us away from the conversation. To truly listen, we need to consciously set aside these distractions. One simple way to do this is to put your phone away when someone is speaking to you. Turn off any distracting notifications, and if necessary, find a quiet place where you can focus. By setting the stage for mindful listening, you're signaling to the other person that they have your full attention. The next step is to listen without judgment. This can be harder than it sounds because we often come into conversations with preconceived notions or opinions about what's being said. When we listen mindfully, we suspend judgment and try to hear the speaker's words as they are, without mentally critiquing or forming a response. This doesn't mean that you agree with everything being said, but rather that you're creating space for the other person to express themselves without feeling judged. When you listen without judgment, you're able to respond with empathy rather than defensiveness or criticism. Another key component of mindful communication is acknowledging the speaker's emotions. Often, what's not being said is just as important as the words themselves. Pay attention to the speaker's tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. Are they upset, frustrated, excited, or anxious? Sometimes, people have trouble putting their feelings into words, and by being mindful of their emotions, you can better understand what they're really trying to convey. For example, your partner might tell you that everything is fine, but their body language might suggest otherwise. By staying attuned to these non-verbal cues, you can offer the emotional support they may not have explicitly asked for. A powerful aspect of mindful listening is reflecting back what you've heard. This can be as simple as paraphrasing what the speaker has said to confirm that you've understood them correctly. It's not about repeating their words verbatim, but rather summarizing the key points in your own words. For instance, if your friend is venting about a difficult situation at work, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling really stressed out because your workload has been overwhelming lately." This shows that you're engaged and that you're truly hearing what they're saying. It also gives the speaker a chance to clarify if they feel you've misunderstood any part of their message. Reflecting back what you've heard ensures that both parties are on the same page and prevents miscommunication. An important but often overlooked part of mindful communication is taking your time to respond. When we're not listening mindfully, we tend to think about our response while the other person is still talking. This can cause us to miss key details or emotional nuances in what's being said. To practice mindful listening, make a conscious effort to pause after the other person finishes speaking before you respond. This allows you to fully process what's been said and to respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively. A pause doesn't mean awkward silence. It's a sign that you're being deliberate and considerate in your communication. Mindful communication also involves asking open-ended questions to keep the conversation flowing and to show genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Open-ended questions encourage the speaker to elaborate and share more of their thoughts and feelings. Instead of asking yes or no questions, try to ask questions that start with how, what, or why. For example, instead of asking, "Are you okay?" you could ask, "What's been on your mind lately?" This invites the speaker to open up and share more, leading to deeper conversations and a stronger connection. It's also important to recognize when emotions are running high and how mindful communication can help de-escalate tense situations. When emotions are heightened, people are more likely to say things they don't mean or to misinterpret what's being said. Mindful listening can help calm these situations by providing a grounding presence. If your partner is upset, practicing mindful listening, being present, reflecting their emotions, and responding calmly can help diffuse the situation. Instead of reacting to their frustration, you can offer understanding and empathy, which helps them feel heard and supported. In emotionally charged conversations, mindful communication can transform conflict into an opportunity for connection. One of the most challenging aspects of mindful communication is recognizing when you're not being mindful. It's easy to slip into old habits of interrupting, multitasking, or mentally checking out of a conversation. The key to becoming a better listener is to acknowledge when this happens without judgment and to gently bring your focus back to the present moment. Like any skill, mindful communication takes practice. The more you make an effort to stay present and engaged in conversations, the easier it will become. So how can you incorporate mindful communication into your daily life? Start small. Choose one conversation each day where you commit to being fully present and engaged. This might be with a partner, a friend, or even a colleague. Set aside any distractions, make eye contact, and focus on truly listening to what the other person is saying. As you practice, you'll find that mindful communication not only strengthens your relationships, but also makes you feel more connected to the people around you. In conclusion, mindful communication is a transformative practice that can deepen your relationships, reduce conflict, and help you understand yourself and others on a deeper level. By being fully present, listening without judgment, acknowledging emotions, reflecting back what you've heard, and responding thoughtfully, you can create more meaningful connections in every aspect of your life. Remember, communication is not just about speaking, it's about listening, and listening mindfully is the foundation of strong, healthy relationships. If you're ready to improve your communication skills and foster deeper connections, start practicing mindful listening today. Thank you for watching Lutical Connections. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from learning how to really listen. Stay tuned for more relationship advice and personal growth content.